Yeah. What you know about bench mob? They're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. Taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. They clearing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow. We know.
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast, episode 108. We here tonight. It's live. Yo, everybody that's listening to this, if y'all can subscribe on all streaming platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. Give us a 5-star rating on everywhere so we can, really do well. Turn this into some money bags. Speaking of money bags, CJ Moneybags is absent tonight. He is out spending some money bags on his last dance. He's about to be married, so bachelor party life is his life for this weekend. But we got the big three here. Miles, smooth operator, left-handed Davenport is in the building. We just glad he's here. It's more life. We were concerned with the Knicks losing, but he's here.
He said more life.
I was feeling better before you brought that up again, but I'm gonna make it through the show.
I'm very sorry that I just mentioned that. Like, we had a whole episode on mental health. That was very insensitive by me. Greg, Hot Takes, Mr. Sims Mayor is in the building tonight. How are you feeling tonight?
I feel good. You should run back the tape of me tell Knicks fans to be happy to be here. I try to tell every Knicks fan to be happy to be here, but they don't want to listen to me. I warned everybody, but it's all right. No one ever listens to me until it's too late.
Hey, sometimes you're wrong, and I was wrong. I thought the Knicks was gonna win. I was hopeful the Knicks was gonna win. This is just a reminder for me. I'll speak to me. You can't make choices with your heart, bruh. I made it with my heart because I wanted the Knicks to win. The Knicks winning is good for basketball. So I chose my heart and I was wrong. Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, Bogey, Collins. It was just too much for them, man. It was really too much for them.
I'm trying to tell you guys.
But we're gonna talk about the Knicks season overall. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna give our regular season playoff, their entire season. We're gonna give it a grade. I think they're in a great position though for the future. But we gotta start off with cheating, and some more cheating. Baseball is yet again in a situation where we're talking about cheating. It's a belief, it's a rumor. Some say it's fact that pitchers are using illegal foreign substances to increase their spin rates. What's going on with baseball? And at this point, it's every 3-4 years we hear something about cheating. The Astros treating, people taking steroids to hit the home runs. Should baseball just just best cheater win?
Well, I think this situation kind of similar to the Mitchell report that came out maybe 17, 18 years ago when it had a list of players who were tested to see if they'd taken steroids, but they never put it out officially. And then it leaked. And then you find out, oh, he was taking steroids? Wow. I feel like this is going to be like that type of situation where, like Josh Donaldson was trying to say, he's like, I got receipts. I can show you who's been doing it, who's cheating. Because they have video of people either putting it in their glove or putting it on their arm. So it's not like it's a secret. And I'm sure most teams right now have somebody who's using it, because pitchers are doing crazy numbers this year. Like there's been an outrageous amount of no-hitters, and maybe you can attribute that to this substance, which if people don't know, it's sunblock mixed with rosin, which makes it stickier on the ball and you're able to spin it a lot more. So I don't know what baseball is going to do. Right now, they're not going to do anything. They're still evaluating it, and I think that if Josh Donaldson comes out and outs some of these players, then it might put a little pressure on the new commissioner to do something about it. But this is just a part of baseball. Everybody's trying to get an edge, and this is just one of those things that we're going to have to deal with this year.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the MLB is, according to Brian Harkins, is very aware of it. Brian Harkins recently sued MLB and the Angels for defamation after being fired by the Angels for selling an illegal substance to pitchers across the league. He says MLB knew. I think even when we talk about, the home runs and Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire, I think they knew about that too. It's just the fact that it became public, it didn't look good, and all right, now we're going to cover it up. We're going to, try to fix it and things of that nature. I think this is literally just like when Lance Armstrong was cheating. He was like, everybody's cheating. I think this is really kind of like a part of the baseball culture now. As you said, everybody's trying to get an edge. Everybody's cheating. It's just like, do you get caught?
And let me add this. MLB is they're after their bottom line, which is making money, selling tickets, putting their best product out there. So if the steroid era was the best era, because who doesn't want to see a home run hit every game, or that race between McGwire and Sammy Sosa? That was one of the greatest runs in baseball history. Even though they cheated, but it made the sport fun. So now you got guys cheating, but who knows? DeGrom could be on this list.
I was
even
just
though
about to ask, Greg, if you find out DeGrom's on this list, does that change your viewpoint of DeGrom being the GOAT?
No. No. I don't think he is, but I don't know for sure. Obviously, I don't think there's any way to really know for sure. But nah, he's incredible. We can talk about that all day. That's a whole different thing in and of itself. The baseball fans are funny to me. Like that, just baseball culture is funny to me because they like to act like they're all holier than thou and all that stuff and all these unwritten rules and crap. And they try to act like there's all this integrity for the game, and it's never been like that. It's never been that. That's why I think it's so crazy that they don't let guys like Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame, because just when he was amazing before steroids obviously helped him helped him be stronger, right? He added power. There was more power to his game, but you got to be able to hit the ball. So at this point, it's a joke. All the fans that are upset at the Astros for stealing signs, that's a part of this thing. Baseball should just lean into what it is, okay? Whatever you can do to make the game more fun and palatable for young kids, you do that. And I'm not saying that you should condone cheating anywhere, but at the same time, that just seems to be synonymous with baseball. So let's not act like, oh yeah, it's this sport where everybody's got great integrity and sportsmanship and all that. No, it's crazy to me. It really is. They play by their own rules out there. They do.
I hope you're not trying to give the Astros a pass, though.
I'm not giving the Astros a pass. I'm not saying no, they cheated, but I'm also saying that seems to be a common theme in baseball. It's just what it is. Everybody seems to be cheating out there. Everybody's out there cheating. I don't think anyone's out there just getting away, playing clean and totally all through and through, and everybody wants to act like they're bigger than the other. We're talking about a sport where guys are allowed to pelt a 100-mile cement, almost damn near cement ball at someone because they're mad that they looked at them the wrong way when they got a hit. That's what we're talking about. There's a lot of stupid stuff with baseball. Baseball's archaic. They gotta come up to speed. They gotta get to this time. They got issues bigger than just the fact that a guy is guys are rubbing sticky substances and spinning the ball at a faster rate. I mean, the no hitters are in large part because guys are trying to hit for power. That's how about you bunt? I don't see anybody bunt anymore. How about that? You don't do any of the basic fundamentals in baseball anymore. You're seeing guys try to hit for power, so the strikeout numbers are going higher, the ERAs are going lower, and they're giving up less runs.
Well, if they're going to let them do this, then they should let the hitters put the pine tar wherever they want to put it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. At this point, like I said, the best cheater wins. Literally at this point, because the pitchers cheating, the hitters cheating. What are we talking about here? And as Greg alluded to, sad to say, This used to be America's pastime at one point, but it's no longer the most popular sport, and it's no longer a sport that is actually viewed as often as the big sports where you were talking about, NFL, NBA. Why? Especially you see in the NBA, they have catered the game to be more exciting, to get more people to actually tune in. NBA, that's a foul. Breathing on Trae Young's hair, the little bit that's there, that's a foul. Like, but they did that so it could be more offense, more scoring. You got games on the regular that's 135, 140 is a regular game.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to the IT episode on All the Smoke, shout out to All the Smoke. He was saying, at his peak, when he was averaging 30, most of those games were still 98 to 100. In a 4-year span, we talking about now 140, 145 is a normal game.
Yep.
It's a normal game, but it's exciting. People want to tune in. Double overtime game, one of the most efficient games ever in playoffs for a 50-piece. You're not getting that in like an MLB game.
No.
You're not gonna get that same type of excitement. So I say, hey, everybody use whatever you want to use. Whoever come out and win, come out and win. Just like with Lance Armstrong, he said we always cheating. I just was the best cheater. If we all cheating, what does it matter?
I don't disagree with you.
And baseball too. Hey, look. Let's see. It's kind of like when you play video games. Both teams turn your game sliders up. Let's see who wins.
That's it. Like, can I just drop some breaking news in the podcast here?
Drop it.
Oh, you saw that too.
Well, Anthony Davis will be playing tonight. As long as warms go according to plan. If the warms go according to plan, he'll be playing tonight. So
That's a lot that gotta go according to plan.
Yo.
Transition to another team, that was at one point synonymous with greatness, was at one point back in the day constantly in competition with the Lakers for championships, was the Boston Celtics. Danny Ainge has decided to retire from his position of head of basketball operations. Some say it's because Kyrie blew up the whole thing in Boston. He messed up what was going on there because he won and he stepped on lucky. And, that just hurt Danny Ainge. It hit him different, so he had to retire. Others may believe that he was probably going to get fired, which me and Greg alluded to, that he needs to get fired. What's your thoughts, initial takeaways when you saw this report that he was retiring from his position? And we're going to get into Brad Stevens, the promotion. But when you saw this come across your phone, what was your first initial thoughts reading this, that Danny Ainge was retiring?
I was kind of shocked. Like, I didn't expect it to come like this. I thought, he'd stick around for another year, and if nothing happens, get fired. But I didn't think that he would step down, and then the guy who was out there coaching would take his position with the Celtics. No interviews with anybody else, no other candidates, but it was like he was the heir apparent. But
what's the plan?
Danny Ainge, I don't know. He kind of got out easy on this one.
Woo, he definitely got out easy, bruh. I feel he was able to go into the sunset. And I don't think he's gonna actually retire and never be, with a basketball team again. But he was the king of the almost moves. We almost had Harden, almost had Anthony Davis, almost had Kawhi, just to name a few names. Greg, you have made it clear on this show your viewpoints on Danny Ainge and his job, not even him as a person. You made it clear just on how he does his job. What's your thoughts on Danny Ainge retiring?
He got fired. Let's just make sure we call it what it is. He got fired. They just when a white guy gets fired, they're allowed to say that they are stepping away from the position, so that way they look better. But let's make no mistake about it. He got fired. That's what happened. And he's not getting fired for what happened against the Nets. It's not that he lost to the Nets. It's really not. It's about losing Game 7 to Bron in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2018. I think since then, the writing's been on the wall. You had to win that series. Even though Kyrie had been hurt at the time, they played really well all year with Terry Rozier. And honestly, it's not even about the roster they had at the time. It's about the fact that they had never pulled the trigger and made a big move to make that solidify the team as a top team in the NBA. And when you get a king's ransom from the Nets, you just completely take advantage of Billy King, and you get out of that, you get really two young, really good core players. The whole point of getting those young core players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is to flip them into a star like AD. But because Boston leans into their racism as a fan base, it makes it tough for guys, really good black players around the league to want to go play there. It's not a palatable place where they want to go play. They don't want to go do that. So here we are. She should have pulled a Masai Ujiri and gotten a guy like Kawhi to come. Just trade for him. Even if you get him for a year, you have him for a year. You have his services for a year. He's not going to sit out. He's going to play. Maybe you win a championship out of that, and that makes it worth it. Now, because the juice is with the squeeze there. You get all these assets. What are you building for? You might not keep Jason Tatum. There's a good chance Jason Tatum walks in a couple years. For real. He could walk. He really could. Like, playing in Boston is not something that guys in this generation are really that excited about. I don't know. Danny Ainge was betting on the Shield, the Boston Celtics Shield being worth so much more than what it actually is to guys nowadays. Guys in this generation don't care. If they cared, Kyrie and KD would be on the Knicks right now, not the Nets. They don't care. They're going to go through the best situation for them. That stuff doesn't matter. Tradition doesn't matter. That's why Kyrie will step on the logo like that. He does not care. He doesn't,
I think the other thing, too, is like what you alluded to, is outside of basketball, do these players want to be there? And especially a lot of the younger players and younger talent, even some of the draft picks, do they want to re-sign? They're like, Boston. You feel me? Like, how many people do you know, black athletes that want to go play in Boston? Probably not that many. And something that was interesting too, they haven't really had a black athlete choose to go there outside of Al Horford and I think one other player to actually choose to go to Boston. They're a free agent, not coming through trade, but a free agent, and was like, yo, I'm going to go sign with Boston. Kemba. That's the two players, Al Horford and Kemba.
Yo, let's also not, it works both ways too. Boston for the longest time didn't want black athletes. Boston early on when they were winning with Red Auerbach and winning with Bill Russell, Red Auerbach understood that we're not getting fingers in the seats. We got to get some white guys in here. And then that's what happened. You saw the whole thing shift to Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, Danny Ainge, all that stuff. They got as many white guys as they could. They were one of the whitest professional sports teams in U.S. history. In U.S. history, that's their legacy. That's what they've created for themselves. That's the brand they created for themselves. This is self-inflicted damage. This is not anyone's fault besides Boston's fault, right? It goes as far back as Red Auerbach. So to make it seem as if black athletes don't want to go there. I know some of our listeners we got some listeners that are Boston Celtics fans. I'm not gonna say no names, but this is how racism can work in the inverse. Okay, the reality is black people dominate this sport, and you're not getting black people. You're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed. What are you gonna do? The Celtics will be competitive. I would be very worried if I was a Celtics fan that I can't keep that guy like Jaylen Brown. That I can't keep a guy like Jason Tatum. I know they can make the most money there, but I would be very worried. I think you're more likely to keep Jaylen Brown than Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum is on the record saying he grew up a Kobe guy. He's in the record saying, that he has all the respect for the guys around the league. Don't think for a second that guys won't be in his ear talking about what is he going to do in Boston. There's a racist fan base. Guys throwing water bottles at Kyrie. Kyrie's his friend. That idiot Boston Celtics fan threw a bottle at his star friend, at the franchise player's one of his best buddies. That's what you did. You idiot. Now, when he walks away,
you don't think that's going to have some effect?
You don't think it matters?
He's not going to remember that when free agency comes up. Do I really want to stay here?
Come on, man.
Do I really want to re-up here? The thing is, as you mentioned, you would probably get the most money if they stay in Boston. But there's so much and so many opportunities outside of basketball. You make that money up.
Yeah.
True. Let's
Go
say
to LA too. You get
LA, even
Miami.
commercials you've seen. If you're a star, and honestly, at this point in this era of basketball, it don't matter where you're at, because you would get it off the court. Movies, TV, commercials, clothing lines, podcasting. JJ Redick making a little nice piece of change outside of basketball doing podcasting. So it can be done anywhere. Some of his mishaps, just to throw out there before we talk about the promoted, the golden child, Brad Stevens. He traded fan favorite Antoine Walker for Rafe LaFrance. And I think that started right there, letting you know. The fans weren't happy about it, but that started right there where it was like, we don't care. Danny Ainge in the front, because obviously you know they had to green light it and say it was okay. They started right there when that trade happened. They let you know they didn't care what the fans thought. So he traded fan favorite Antoine Walker. Garnett and Pierce to the Nets. He got some of the picks, but we saw what he did, holding on to the picks too much, didn't really turn out to anything. And then, of course, my favorite, which I think is one of the most grimiest things ever done I've seen in sports in my era of being alive, trading the injured IT for Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie ain't gonna stay, so was it really worth it? Now, the next steps, though, for Brad Stevens, he has this job now. Where does Brad Stevens go to fix this team?
I don't even know what the pick situation is. And honestly, Brad's not. I don't think Brad's gonna appeal in that position as a head of basketball ops more than he would. He's not. It's not more appealing that he's in that situation than he would be as a coach. His basketball mind is what people are attracted, what people like. I mean, I don't. You know, you can hire Jason Kidd, you can hire Sam Cassell, you can hire whoever you want to hire there. Boston's problem is that it's in Boston. Boston's problem is a deep-root issue. It's underneath the foundation. So it's a foundational issue. That's what it is. So you're not going to be able to just change this thing. All Brad Stevens can hope to do is convince Jason Tatum to stay. If you don't, then, you address it early. And if he says if he shows any interest going anywhere else, trade him for the career. Trade him for the career.
He mentioned a couple of coaching candidates. Who you think would be the best option as a coaching candidate, Miles, for Boston?
I mean, it's a guy that hasn't really gotten a chance these last few years. I feel like Mark Jackson could come in and just ignite a little fire into the scene.
Highly unlikely, though.
Yeah, I don't think Mark
gets into the socioeconomic situation.
I don't think Mark gets another job
ever again.
No.
Unfortunately, I agree. Mark, we haven't heard his name come up in a minute. I don't think he's even got an interview. But I think it would. I agree.
It makes sense. It's a good basketball choice, but we know there's more than basketball to play.
Yeah. But that's basically who I would choose if I was, running the team. But I mean, somebody like me wouldn't run the Boston Celtics.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
And one thing I think Brad Stevens gonna have to do this offseason too is figure out what they're gonna do with Kimba. Kimba has he has the knees of a 67-year-old.
I think you're stuck with him. How many more years do you have left on that deal?
He's got like
two more.
At a stupid number like 30 mil or something.
Yeah, I think it's still like 60 to 65 million left still in that contract.
They're stuck with him, man. It's okay.
He's not good playing like second fiddle or third fiddle to these guys. Because if you look at Charlotte, he was the man. He was the guy, ball in his hand all the time, making all the plays. And now in Boston, it's a different role you got to take up when you're not that best player on your team anymore.
The thing too with Kimba though, it's like at this point, though, he's not going to go anywhere and be the star. So it's like at some point he's going to have to accept being that second or third option. Because if traded anywhere, we look at the NBA rosters right now, he's not going to be the head star guy. Same thing you can look at, and I'm not comparing the two players, but you can look at the same thing like IT. Like IT will never get that opportunity, unfortunately, to be that guy like he was in Boston those 3 years. With how teams are set up right now and how teams are currently constructed, most teams have their guy. So it would have to be an injury type of situation, and it would be like a 1 year thing anyhow. We see IT only got signed to a 10-day. So the NBA, as of right now, how they're treating him, they don't see him as a number one option anymore. They don't see him as being, hey, he could repeat that year where he was averaging 28, 29 points. Same thing with Kimber.
Look at the history of the NBA too. I mean, it's very rare that your best player is 6 foot or under 6'2". It's very and when I say your best player could be under 6'2", what I mean is it's very rare that your best player is under 6'2" and you're a championship level team. You're a team that's gonna win a championship. That's very rare. I don't consider the Warriors in that category. I know people kill me for it. I know how great Steph Curry is. The first champion they won to me was luck. You had Kyrie and Kevin Love went down. Kyrie and Kevin went down, and Bron was dominating the series up 2-1 on y'all. Like by himself, if he had Kyrie, they would have won the series. They would not have won a championship that year. And then the year after, on that 73-win year, and I'm using them as an example because they're the most clear-cut example, I feel like. But the 73-win year, they lost. Then they got KD, and what happened? They won. Their best player was a 7-footer. The NBA historically just favors guys that are bigger, taller frames. That's why I think the Celtics losing guy Jason Tatum would be devastating for their franchise to bring it back to them. You know, you have to keep him for that reason.
Do you think two questions, right? So alluding to that, right? So you just mentioned that. Could you say the same thing with Portland? Yes,
that's why they don't win, because as great as Dame is, Dame cannot be your best player on the championship level team. He cannot. And he's amazing. I almost went NSFW on him. He's amazing. He is, but he cannot be your best player on the championship team. You have to have a wing. You need a wing that is. They need Jason Tatum with Dame.
That's what I've said. People, disagree, whatever. I say should break it up because you have your starting 2 guards are under 6'4". They're both under 6'4". That's not going to work, especially when you see, for example, let's just throw the Warriors out there. Dame and CJ are going to struggle guarding a 6'7" Clay. Yeah. When they had KD there, you get switched on that. What's happening with that?
I think there's a way you could cheat the system too. Like what I'm saying, it's not like it's a simple math equation where the answer is always the same. You could go get Mikal Bridges in a dream world and throw him and somehow keep McCollum there. You got Mikal Bridges, Dame, and CJ. You're rocking now. Now you're cooking with some guys. But either way, it's an upgrade because you need a guy on the wing who can play D on some of the best wings in the league. Because most of these teams are competing for a championship, like the Bucks, the Nets, the Lakers, right? Regardless of what they're looking like right now, they got these wings that are gonna not only get a bunch of buckets, create for their teammates, and defend the other team's best player too. Like Bron in crunch time will do that on Kawhi, will do that on these other guys. Like that's what's gonna happen. So. If you don't have that, if you have Robert Covington starting for you, you are in a lot of trouble. You're not going to win. You're not going to. That's why they can't beat this team. They should beat this Denver team. They probably won't, and it won't be Dame's fault. But it's just the way it is.
The guard play, they obviously have the hands up on that with Dame and CJ over Austin Rivers and Campazzo. But in regards to the wing play, in regards of they didn't like it when. I think it was Kendrick Perkins, called out Nurkic, said he's like the worst defensive big in the NBA. He don't like it, but honestly, like
it's true.
He's not one of the best. You can't put him in, and that he's a bucket, but we've never ever associated Nurkic with defense. Miles, before we transition, do you think you can win a championship with Tatum being a number 1 guy, Tatum or Brown?
You can. It just depends on the team that's surrounding them. Like, I feel like Brogdon would be a better fit on this team than, say, a Kemba. Because he knows how to play his role. He's not going to try to do too much, and he doesn't need the ball as much as Kemba does. Because ever since he's been playing, since he was young, he's been the guy. So now that you're in Boston, you have to defer to Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Jason Tatum, he could honestly be a top 5 player in the next couple of years if he keeps going at it the way he is. Maybe a little more defense on his end, but he's on his way. So I think, if you surround him with some pieces, you got it right there. But I don't know what they they can do right now to fix things. They have some good pieces though, like Rob Williams, definitely a good pickup for them.
He need to stay healthy.
They have a bunch of pieces because that's all they've done is stockpile pieces from the Nets over years and never taken advantage of the fact that they got all these pieces. All they have is pieces. They're an organization in pieces. They're an organization that literally needs to. They never pulled the trigger, and now it's too late. Now it's too late. I don't even know what you do to get better. And maybe you get involved in some kind of CJ McCollum trade, and you give Jaylen Brown up for CJ McCollum just to shake stuff up. Maybe that's what you do. But Jaylen Brown's a very good player. Jaylen Brown go play with Dame. It could get kind of crazy. So I don't know what you do. It's very hard. And also you got to think about the fact that, hey, if I go get a guy, does he want to stay here? If I'm Brad Stevens, I don't worry about that. I live with the results because you need to win something. You don't win something, those fans are itching up there. Those fans are arrogant. Those fans expect to win something. And if you don't get anything done, your fate will be the same as Danny Ainge's. But also, I mean, look, Danny Ainge, they fired him, but they fired him in a way that, like I said, like
he left, to be closer with his family. He wanted to spend more time with his family. It was one of those type of situations.
Yeah.
We know.
What were the rumors about him going to Utah next, anyways? And
I don't think that's.
Miles laughing. Miles want to take it there. He's going to Utah next, right? So he was in Phoenix, Utah. Phoenix, he could potentially be in Utah, and he was in Boston. And let's just say he's in Utah.
How does that work with D Wade?
D Wade's not coming in there and shaking stuff up like that.
I'm saying,
but isn't like a stadium a part owner?
Yeah, he's.
But I'm saying in this regard, right? So we alluded to there being racial tension and racial issues with Danny Ainge, and the owner, the majority owner, wants D Wade involved in decision making. I can't see if we boys and you like, I want you involved. You don't hire Danny Ainge.
I think they brought D Wade on to make Utah look more like a sexy destination. They can bring D Wade to a free agent meeting and say, hey, come play for us. I'm D Wade, and then this generation respect D Wade. They have the highest respect for him, right? It's like so yeah. It's not a bad decision or anything like that. Maybe a mistake in the franchise to come do that, to be an advert, to be an ambassador for the franchise. But at the end of the day, D Wade is not shaking the Mormons. D Wade is not changing the fact that they got a bunch of Mormons sitting up there talking crazy to black athletes when you go play in Utah. And no one in their right mind, as much as they love D Wade, is gonna go play for the Jazz. You wanna know why no one's gonna go play for the Jazz? Because D Wade wouldn't have gone to play for the Jazz if Kobe was working in the front office, or if Michael Jordan was working in the front office. Guess what? Michael Jordan is working in the front office in Charlotte. Guess what they haven't done? Gotten the big free agent. So I don't even want to hear it. The biggest free agent signing that Jordan's made is Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward.
Okay. To mention that, Gordon Hayward, right? So Charlotte is becoming, very much with real estate and being a city that's being built up, starting to really be kind of like Atlanta in regards of like, it's kind of like a Wakanda, and they can't get a black athlete to come there, and it's Michael Jordan there.
But North Carolina, it's just so crazy how much politics and all stuff ties together. Isn't North Carolina a big, white evangelical, state? Huge white evangelical population down there, right?
Yeah, but this is the other thing, though. You feel me? Where it's the best populations, the best places where you would want to go and you want to live as being black aren't really destinations still at the same time. Atlanta, nobody's really going to go sign there. Will at first was thinking about retirement, getting traded to go there. You mentioned maybe Dallas. That's not really a destination for black athletes. Miami, that's really because of the nightlife. But you feel me? We're the chocolate cities and the most affluent places that a black person will want to live aren't actually destinations.
The most liberal cities in America where black athletes wouldn't mind playing. I think Atlanta could potentially be a place that a player says, all right, fine, I'll go there and play with Trey and play with Capella. But it's the most liberal cities in the country. So if you're in Boston, you're screwed. If you're in Utah, you're especially screwed. There's no chance. There's an Oklahoma City, forget about it. Forget about it.
They need to put a team back in Seattle.
They do.
Seattle, they need to get that team out of OKC. That's not. They have to build through the draft because is willingly going to OKC, you're gonna have to literally.
It's
gonna have to be like slavery. They're gonna have to put him on a boat, tie him to the boat, and drop him off at the OKC arena. Was it Chesapeake?
Why do you think you don't think that Sam Presti knows that when he goes out and gets 50 first-round picks for the next 3 years? He knows exactly what he's doing. He's about to trap one of these young black athletes coming out of this school. He's trying to trap Cade Cunningham this year. He's trying to trap.
He know the vibes.
Yeah, he knows.
He not getting.
He's trying to trap Emoni Bates in a couple of years. He's trying to trap Bronny. Like, they know what they're doing. Like they know what they're doing, bro. They know what the situation is, and they know how much that the socioeconomics and the politics factor in the sports, yo. I be telling people, I said this in the podcast multiple times. You could turn any conversation into a race conversation. Any conversation, because it always intertwines. Almost always.
Transitioning perfect to the cap or facts. Speaking of race, Stephen A came out, went on a whole rant, went off screen, saying that NBA players do not speak up for black coaches. Is this cap or facts?
I don't think he's wrong in saying that. I just don't like the messenger. I don't like the messenger. I don't think he's wrong. I just don't like the messenger. That's all.
I agree. I was watching it, and I'm like, Stephen A sometimes is right. It's just that it's Stephen A. Because I think Stephen A plays both sides of the coin, which is something else we'll talk about. I think he plays both sides of the coin, so it's like he's right in saying this, but it's like it's Stephen A.
Now you want to be Quincy Kente all of a sudden. He gets to pick and choose when he gets to be all for the cause and all that stuff and criticize other people for not being for the cause. Like, I don't. Is Stephen A. Smith considered some kind of trailblazer of social justice? Hell no, he's not. Hell no, he's not. So him saying that makes look. Everything he does is so clearly for attention and ratings for that show is not even funny, bro. And it's fine. Like I just think it's disingenuous. Like, it's fine. Yo, just you have catered to white people to make your money for the longest time. That's so fine. Make your bread. Be successful. Set up generational wealth. That's fine. But don't do this. Don't do this. Like, don't turn around and
pick and choose. And if the thing. Shoot, forget. We go on to the next one because
don't act like you're willing to risk it all for this for social because you're not. Because you're not even like the kids say. You're not even like that. You're not even like that.
I just cap the facts. These first two ones just gonna be on Stephen A. Because Kwame Brown came out and said Stephen A was a hypocrite for supporting Naomi Osaka for her mental health, but not the black male athlete. Cap or facts?
Facts.
I'm gonna say facts. That's why I was like, it kind of was intertwined, both of these, because in his rant, he's mentioning LeBron James. He mentioned
names.
He mentioned names. You feel me? And he's going after the black male athlete. Why aren't y'all speaking up? It's facts. I haven't heard LeBron vouch for a black coach or anything like that. But it's just like
I heard Dame.
I've heard Dame. Yes.
Damn.
It's just like you are all in support for Naomi Osaka. Had the jacket on with the fist on it and everything, but the black male athlete, which is kind of the trend in America in general, to attack black males, black females also. But Stephen A, it seems like his calling card is to attack the black male athlete. And Kwame Brown was saying, he was like, yo, he's going after KD, Kyrie, Marshawn Lynch, Russ, and he's all attacked them at one point saying they were mentally weak. How do you then support Naomi Osaka for her mental health?
You know why he didn't go after Naomi Osaka, bro. You know why he didn't go after Naomi Osaka. Come on. You know exactly why.
I know exactly why. I'm saying I agree with Kwame Brown. This is very
He's right.
Very hypocritical.
He's of course hypocritical, but you know why he's doing this. Because he knows that he does not want the American black woman not on his side, bro. You want to talk about scorched earth, bro? That is bad. And he does not want that. He don't want them problems. He knows that. That's why. He knows that he doesn't want that demographic against him, which is why he won't go after Naomi Osaka. Also, I think he also doesn't want to get tied up into the whole gender piece of it too. He's very sensitive about talking about women in a certain way. He's very, you watch him enough. He's very careful what he says about women. He does not say anything bad about women because he doesn't want them problems. He don't want to be put in that situation where he has to deal with that being called a misogynist or whatever. Like, you're not trying to be there.
Miles, your take on everything Stephen A. right now. Naomi Osaka, him calling out players for not speaking up for black coaches. Like, what's your takes on everything with Stephen A?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, Stephen A., it's always been like this, so it's not like it's not something new, but now it's coming to the forefront because now we're focused on mental health, but at the same time, he's been attacking Kwame Brown for years, and you don't know what that can do to a man's headspace.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to lash out at people because of all the constant people berating him on talk shows and disrespecting his name. So, I don't know. I don't watch that show anymore, First Take, but yeah, he's...
No, I'm telling you what, I don't have time to watch the show anymore. I'm happy I don't.
I see the clips and that's where I get. I don't be watching it either. Next one, Kappa Facts, and then we'll transition to the next couple topics. The shortened off season has caused the injuries and struggles for both the Lakers and the Heat. Kappa Facts.
Facts. Big facts.
I say facts for the Lakers, not for Miami.
I think Miami too. Yo, you ready to kill Miami? Yo, I don't think Miami is a sweep. I don't think the distance between the Bucks and Miami a year out is worth a sweep. I don't think Drew Holiday makes that much of a difference. Is Drew Holiday Michael Jordan or something?
Close to
it. I think they still lose this series regardless.
Okay, yes, but I think it'd be like a 7-game series was more in line with what was supposed to happen than what actually happened. Like, yo, if you lost, let's say you're the Knicks from last year, not to make fun of the Knicks, I could pick any team. But let's say you're the Knicks. Not any team. But let's say you're the Knicks and you didn't make the playoffs last year. You didn't play basketball for almost 10 months straight, and you played and now you're fresh. You don't think don't think for a second it's a coincidence that the Knicks had a great year this year. I'm not belittling their season. They had an amazing season. But don't think for a second that the rest did not help the guys that were already on that roster. Don't think it didn't matter. Of course it did. You play 82 games, high-intensity basketball almost every other night of the year, of the season, and you get 10 months off. Usually that break is much smaller. The break is usually 4 or 5 months? 5 months?
Yeah.
That's huge. Bron being 36 and getting 5 months. Jimmy Butler was injured last year. He was not 100%. He has stuff he has to deal with right now. The Lakers and AD, same thing. Like, the NBA basically rewarded teams that were not good and didn't make the playoffs last year by giving them a long break. And because of the bread, they needed that money coming in. They expedited the process, and now in return, it doesn't bite you in the regular season. It bites you in the playoffs because now you're some of the best teams in the NBA. They're struggling here. It's the end. They're having a hard time getting to the finish line. Guys have to stay healthy. It's hard. So the Lakers fans shouldn't look at this roster. Look, we can talk. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Lakers, and that's fine, and we can do that a little later. But Lakers fans shouldn't look at this roster and be like disgusted, because this is a chain reaction. Every reaction has a reaction. You spread up their process. Brown was upset with the shortened off season. I'm sure that the Heat were too. They were put at a great disadvantage from the beginning of the season. So yes, of course it matters. Of course that's a big reason they're down 3-2 to the Suns right now. The Suns are not better than the Lakers. This is going to be a rare example if they win tonight or win Game 7. The Suns do. The better team in the playoffs didn't win. They're not better.
I think, alluding to that though, with how we're seeing the Lakers play, and that tweet of 0 points from 5 players
combined,
maybe, just maybe, outside of LeBron, they might have a better overall team and are deeper. I think that's something that we have to, yes, I was using complete hyperbole, throwing the Heat under the bus because I just couldn't stand that they was talking all year, talking about, yeah, we just gotta get healthy and we gonna win. I just couldn't stand it. Just shut up. Just deal with. I'd rather them be like, yo, we're tired. We're dealing with injuries, as you alluded to. We got a shortened off season. Don't talk about this talk, the Heat culture. You know, we'll be back. No, y'all won't. Next year, maybe y'all try again. The Lakers, though, how the team is currently constructed versus the Suns, I think we have to literally start looking at that conversation like, yo, the Suns are just a deeper team than LA.
I'm not. You're 100% right. But my thing is, I don't think it's ever been about it. That matters. That matters. A lot of good deep teams have been here. The Utah Jazz are deep. They're not gonna win nothing. Like it's not. In the NBA specifically, it is about your star players, star versus stars. That's why I'm taking the Nets over the Bucks. It's not because I'm a Nets fan. It's because I am trusting KD, Kyrie, and he gonna pick the Bucks out of spite. That's the worst part about it. He gonna pick the Bucks out of spite. Let's not even go there. Hold on. I'm not even here for none of that. Yo, let's not even do that. You can get me hot right now. But star to star comparison. I'm taking Bron and AD every day of the week over CP3 and Book, and that is gonna win you a series. These guys are right, and things are going well, but these guys aren't right. And then now, of course, now you get to how deep it is. Now that's when how deep you are as a team matters. Because Chris Paul has not played great in this series. He's been injured, but because they're deep and because AD's been in and out, and Bron is still trying to find his footing after the injury, he just still is. You can take advantage of that. Now how deep your roster comes into play, how deep your roster comes into play more now than ever before. So, under normal circumstances, your stars when you playoff series. That's why you get the stars. That's why look, if the Lakers get bounced, bro, Nets in 5 to the finals, bro. We're going to the Nets gonna get the East, the gauntlet, and they go win championship.
Yo, if the Lakers lose this series, I go as far as saying Nets in 2, because ain't nobody in the West messing with Brooklyn.
But you see how this thing, you see what you're saying, though. You're on the same page as me. You understand the best two teams in the NBA are the Lakers and the Nets. That's the finals that is most indicative of how this whole thing's going to play out. The two best teams in the NBA are the Lakers and the Nets. That's how it's supposed to work. But it won't work out that way because of circumstances, because of injury, because of the shortened off season. That's having an effect. That's having an effect.
Phoenix is a better team than LA.
As currently constructed, yes. They're deeper. CP3 has an impact. Even if he's not scoring, he has an impact. Devin Booker, superstar right now.
Mm.
And Aiton's been giving them good minutes the whole series.
Ayton shooting like 97%, averaging 26 boards a game.
Not to mention Jay Crowder bringing the toughness.
Jay Crowder was 1 of 20 from 3 before the last game. I don't want to hear nothing about no Jay Crowder bum ass. Hey, let me, for real, Miles.
I said his toughness. I didn't say his shot.
The Lakers are definitely the better team than the Suns, bro. Look, you were talking about how deep they are, but bro, in the playoffs, your rotation shrink. The Lakers 7 deep. When you factor in LeBron and AD affected on that team, like I don't see any team better than the Lakers. I don't think the Nets are necessarily better than the Lakers because of the defense they play. If LeBron and AD are good and they're right and things are flying, I've been choosing the Lakers all year.
I think the thing though, when you look at this series, because just looking at it right now, currently constructed, as Miles said, this is where deeper becomes better though, because 80, this goes back to the trade when you got 80. And some people mentioned this, some people alluded to it. You got rid of your deepness for that team. So with that being the case, let's say, for example purposes, they still had a Julius Randle there, or they still had a B.I. still there. You can have in a series like this, 80 be in and out, and it still wouldn't be a problem. I don't think when you have players like Kuz, we have players like THT, who's good, but he hasn't had real heavy playoff time. You got players like Schroeder, who played for OKC last year, and who took a lot of that pressure off from CP3. He wasn't the starting point guard on a championship contender team. This is where that kind of hurts the Lakers. And this is where it is facts. The short off season hurts them because they can't afford to have any injuries. Everything has to literally run smoothly, even if they get out the series. You can't have another series, let's say the finals, because after this, I don't see any team really, this is their best threat right now. Right?
Oh, the Lakers?
The Suns, yeah.
That's also another thing. They also are playing the best team in the West outside of themselves.
Exactly.
In the first round.
When it comes to the finals, though, and they get there, let's say they get there, they can't afford one game where AD now is injured. You can't afford a game where Kuz is giving you 3 points on 1 of 12 shooting. You can't afford a game where Dennis Schroeder has 0. You can't afford that, and that's where it's scary for the Lakers because it literally everything has to be clicking on all cylinders. Because if they make it to the finals, they see Brooklyn. Scary hours, bruh. I mean, scary hours. Because if we were on the same page. I think Lakers can beat Brooklyn if Lakers are completely healthy. But the thing is, who knows if they're going to be completely healthy at that time?
No, you're right. You can't bang on that. I'm just saying. First of all, you're right. I'm going to put a pin in on that. I'm willing to move on. All I'll say to you is, and Miles, whatever you got, you come with it. But my thing is, like with the Lakers. Dennis Schroeder, what was he thinking about not signing that deal? What were these guys doing to get 0 points in a pivotal game 5? To get 0 points between KCP, Dennis Schroeder, Caruso didn't even get a layup at the basket. That game was an aberration. You got Suns fans freaking out. I didn't even know the Suns fans existed, by the way. I didn't know that was a thing. But you got, Suns fans. I think it's really just Bron haters. But you got Bron haters and people like that freaking out and going crazy and all that. But what happened last night isn't about to happen tonight. There's just no way in hell the Lakers lose tonight. There's no way in hell. I think the Lakers win the series in 7. I don't think they're going to lose it.
If they do lose tonight, which I think is more possible than you think, it won't be as bad as that game. I'll say that.
There's no freaking way to lose tonight. I'm sorry.
I'm a Lakers fan. I'm keeping it stacked with you because...
Yeah, I just don't think Bron shall lose tonight. I'm sorry.
I believe in Bron. I'm never betting against Bron. But I'm thinking it's not... You're saying no way in heck that they lose tonight. I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility out there because the thing with... I'm never betting against Bron. I don't care if he's 40. I'm not betting against Bron. Miles has said this. I have said this. The huge X factor for tonight... Which AD are we getting?
You're going to get an aggressive AD tonight.
He could be aggressive, but we've seen aggressive in his 5 for 18.
Nah, you don't get a good AD tonight. I think you're going to get a good AD tonight.
But does he make it through the whole game tonight?
If he plays 75% of the games, all you need.
I don't know.
I think so. I think with Bron, you have Bron pedal to the metal tonight too. Like I don't look. I really don't see them losing, bro. I've seen you. There is no better player in NBA history than back against the wall, LeBron James, bro. There's no better player in NBA history, bro.
I completely agree. The thing is, though, the help. Is he gonna get any help?
Yeah, I think so. Yo. If those guys don't go out there and do what they did last game and get 0 points between all of them again, or less than 10 between all 3 of them, bro, fire them all. Fire them all, and no one should bring them onto their team. They should never play the NBA again. That doesn't happen. Yo, that doesn't happen. You know how rare that is? I've never heard of those. I've never heard of nothing like that in my life. I almost knocked the mic over. I've never heard nothing like that in my life. Professional basketball players, between 3 of them getting 0 points in a game, bro. That's there's no. I'm telling you, the Lakers are gonna win. I think the Lakers winning tonight. The Lakers winning on what? Will it be a Sunday or Saturday game? Today's Thursday, Saturday game. Saturday game 7. My God. Okay. Saturday game 7. The Lakers are gonna win too. I think they'll win both games.
We'll have to see. I think they'll win tonight. I'm just saying it's a possibility that they might lose because as a Lakers fan, I just don't know which AD we're going to get because we need an AD that's of course, going to be aggressive, but DeAndre Ayton can't get 15, 16 rebounds tonight and go 8 for 9.
Oh, and by the way, the Lakers, they don't listen to this podcast that's going to be able to actually have an effect on the game tonight. But stop running and Drummond and Gasol out there. And if you're going to run either one of them out there, run Gasol out there. Don't run Drummond. Gasol's better. Clearly, he's a better basketball player right now. Better for the team, better for the offense. But live and die by 80 at the 5. Start your roster tonight, have 80 at your 5, and live and die by it. Because 80 on a hurt groin is better than Drummond, and 50 times better than Drummond and Gasol in pick and roll defense. Because Cam Payne's doing whatever he wants in pick and roll defense. And there's an answer for it though. Start 80 at the 5. 80 got to stop being 80 getting me mad, bro. 80 got to stop. Because 80 over here making demands talking about he wants to play. He wants to what's it called? I can't. Yeah, 80 wants to play the 4 and all that stuff. He wants to have a choice. It doesn't matter. No, you want to win championship, do what you got to do. You play the 5. Play the 5.
Alluded to that even with them winning last year. I don't know if you remember. He alluded to that. He mentioned that yeah, we won. I didn't really want to play the 5, but I had to buy into this. Bruh, that type of stuff it just blows.
It drives you crazy.
You won the championship, and you like I didn't really want to play the 5, but I bought in. Why even mention that?
Yeah.
Like the fact that he had this interview. We're going to transition to the teams that got out the first round. That we're going to talk about their season grades and what grade we give them and where do they go from here and things of that nature. But something that AD said, I think it was this series, the 34-point game. Maybe it was game 2. He said, "Yeah, I'm at this point where LeBron doesn't have to talk to me anymore. I just come out and handle business." I think LeBron still got to talk to him. If he's still having that conversation, like, I don't really want to play the 5. Do you want to win?
Idiot.
Do you want to win? Like, the fact that if that is still a conversation, that's like your child telling you, I don't want to eat vegetables. No, you need to eat vegetables. It's going to help you grow.
Deadass.
You a father, so you know.
Deadass.
You've had those conversations like, bruh, I'm telling you this for your good. You need to play the 5 because it's going to help us win the championship. You at the 5 is a matchup nightmare for everybody in the league. And it helps us on defense because we gave away Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee and signed Gasol and Drummond, who suck in pick and roll defense. So you need to play the pick and roll defense and do what is exactly needed to help us win.
And AD can guard everybody on the floor too. He can slide his feet with the guards too. Most guards in the league he can slide his feet with. Like I better not see Drummond on the floor to start the game tonight. And I've been vocal as much as I blame Anthony Davis. I better not see Drummond. I better not see Gasol out there starting the game. Stop being cute. Get to what's effective. You're gonna kill the Suns if you play AD at the 5. They will beat the Suns handily tonight if AD plays a 5 and is moderately close to himself. I promise you. They're better than that. I'm telling you.
But can I just say this? The funniest nickname is that street clothes nickname that Charles Barkley gave AD.
Oh, he's crazy.
That right there.
All right, man. So we got to recap. A couple teams have been kicked out this first round. They are booking their vacations, shipping their cars back to their house. They're going out. The wives and the baby mamas and the side pieces are booking the vacations. The Airbnbs are being booked right now. The kids are, booking where they're going to stay and getting ready to take photos and things of that nature, doing TikTok in Cancun. So we're going to talk about how the season went for these 5 teams that are no longer in the playoffs. Start with Boston. What grade would you give the Boston Celtics? They ended off 36-36. They was a play-in team to get into the playoffs. 3 big key players. Their best players probably this season was Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart. They lost to Brooklyn 4-1. What would you give them for a grade this season?
Like a C minus. It's definitely not what Boston fans expected this year coming in. They thought possibly a top 4 seed, maybe top 3, but with injuries, Kemba's been in and out with the knee injury, and Tatum was out for a little while, and then Jaylen Brown didn't even finish the season. It's tough to really crap on them about that. Like, injuries happen, but a lot was expected of this team. Like, Jason Tatum took that next step, but you need a point guard out there to help facilitate things, and Kemba's just not that point guard. So you take a hit there. Like I'd almost rather Marcus Smart run the point for this team because he knows what to do more so than Kemba. I feel like he's more impactful for this team than Kemba is.
Yeah, definitely more impactful. The thing is, with how this team is set up, you need a point guard that's going to be able to get Tatum and Brown easier shots. Throw back that game winner Tatum had over Giannis. That great shot. Game winner. That was a difficult shot.
That was luck.
Oh, I completely agree, but that was a super difficult shot. If you had, for example, just throwing a name out there, he won't come there and he doesn't show up to the playoffs anyway at this point in his career. Rajon Rondo, for example, when he was in Boston, he set up, Ray Allen got easy shots, Paul Pierce got easy shots, KG got easy shots. You need a point guard like that that's going to make it easier for Tatum and Brown, because of course they could get their own bucket, but at times, if you could get them 10 to 15 points a night, easy, open shots, uncontested, that's what they need. I'm on the same page as Miles. I gave them a C-, up and down all year. Injuries, of course, but I give them that C- at least because they was at least able to give one win in the playoffs. They didn't get swept, which we'll talk about Miami. Their grade. What grade did you give Boston this year?
D+.
D+. Okay.
How's it feeling?
Nah, D+. What you mean? That team, they thought they could win. They thought they were gonna. They didn't see themselves as a team that's gonna get knocked out in the first round. And they thought they were in a championship window. That's why they thought with Kemba Walker and look, the injuries you can't hold it against them, but I can hold it against you that you had unrealistic expectations of this team. I could do that. So D+.
Yeah, nah, I don't even care if they was healthy. Kemba does not put them in the championship conversation. I thought that they would be just in the conversation of the top 3-4 team because I believed in Tatum and Brown being that good. But I knew at the end of the day, I don't think as their team currently constructed was better than Milwaukee. They were better than, obviously, Brooklyn. So finals expectations was, they was drunk over there. Danny Ainge was drinking the beer before coming into work because there's no way that this team was a championship team. Washington Wizards, playing team also. They made the playoffs, finished 34-38. Top players, I guess you could say for them, obviously Russ Bill, maybe throw in Hachimura as another option as one of their best players so far this season. They lost to Philly 4-1. They were able to get a game. What grade would you give Washington?
I'd give him a B just because, Westbrook didn't start off the season well. Banged up, had to sit out a month to recover. Then Beal trying to do everything himself. He can't on this team. Like he tried it when John Wall was out, and he put up a lot of points, but they won every 3 weeks. So I give them a B because they were able to fight back and get into the playoffs and be that 8th seed. But I always saw them as they didn't really know what they wanted to do. They traded for Westbrook because they wanted to maybe make a run at it, but they were more of a rebuilding team than a contender, for sure. So for them to be able to max out Westbrook and Bradley Beal, and besides Hachimura, I can't really name anybody else on this team. So for them to even win a game in the playoffs, it bumps them up to a B. So
what grade would you give them?
Guess a B. I guess a B. I'm just really underwhelmed with them overall. I'm underwhelmed. I think Bradley Beal's out of there. Westbrook's out of there. One way or another. Eventually, he averaged triple double, and they're gonna try to buy him out of his contract. Just watch. They're gonna do him dirty. It's not gonna end well. He had too many games. He has so many games where he goes like 3 of 20 or 7 of 20. What is with his shooting numbers? I can tell you what it is, but I'll pose the question to the listeners: what's wrong with this guy's shooting numbers?
Me and Miles were talking about this before the show. As much as a fan I am of Russell Westbrook and his heart and his grind and how hard he plays, which nobody, I don't think in the league plays harder than Russ. It's hard to defend 20 points, 15 rebounds, 14 assists, 6 turnovers, and 7 for 22.
You were worse than you were. The rebounds and assists almost don't matter. He's canceling himself out. They almost don't matter at that point.
7 for 22, that's bad.
Russ is like, it's like Russ starts shooting the ball and then he goes, oh damn, I'm not making anything. All right, cool. I'm gonna get some rebounds and assists this year to make myself look good. Like, bro, like, what? Come on, bro. 7 to 20 as a professional, bro, and it's too often. It's too often. That he has to go. I don't think
he's more efficient.
He's not gonna refine his game at this point. He is what he is. But it's been fun to watch him because he played hard as hell. I don't want to talk bad about him either. But
I give them a C+. I want to give them a B.
You see, there you go. I didn't want to give him a B. I just give him a B because I felt like Miles gave it to him.
They got one win in the playoffs, so kudos to them for doing that. They able to get one win. Before you mention the other team, just a quick question. Do you think Philly's in trouble with Embiid having yet another injury?
Yes.
Because Ben Simmons, he's not that type of player that can, carry the load for what they're missing with Embiid.
And who are they going to rely on without? Who is their go-to guy when Embiid's out?
It's going to have to be Tobias Harris.
Yo. Either way, it might as well be. It's him and Tobias. Tobias is a very nice player. Mm-hmm. He's a very nice player. Very nice guy.
Do you think they still get out this second round?
Yes, they're playing Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
They're going to
Embiid healthy or not, they get out this.
They're going to put their paws on them. I think Atlanta's going to give them trouble. I think Atlanta's going to give them some trouble, but I'm interested to see if Ben can guard Trae Young. I don't think he can, but it's not because I don't think Ben can guard him head up. It's because I think they're going to run so many pick and roll action, and they're going to really just try to kill him the way they beat the Knicks, doing the same thing. I just think that the Sixers are a better team. They have better players, and it'll be an interesting series. If Embiid's out and missing extended period of time, that series could go 6-7.
Yeah, I still think they'll get through out of it. You got Dwight Howard, who, he's playing good minutes. Him starting, I don't know, getting major minutes, but I think they get out that round. Grizzlies, playing team, they made the playoffs, finished 38-34 regular season. Morant, Brooks, Jackson Jr., top players this season. Even though Jackson Jr., was out most of the season. They lost 4-1 to the Jazz. I give them a final grade. I give them a B-. They fought through the injuries all year, still made the playoffs, and especially that game against Golden State, which I didn't pick them to win. I didn't see them winning with how Steph Curry was playing. I thought it was going to be again like last year. Playing team, got close, went home. This year, I think it showed growth that they was able to get into this playing game. They beat Steph Curry. They get a win against the number 1 seed. John Morant, star. Dylan Brooks played very well this playoffs, and I think he's a star on the rise. And it's somebody like, hey, you got to look out for Dylan Brooks. Jaren Jackson is just whether he can stay healthy. We know the talent is there, but I give them a B-. They got a bright future. I think this was great for them. It was a great experience for their young players to be able to get here. Grayson Allen, all of them. We knew they weren't going to really beat Utah, but I think it's a great experience, playoff experience for them to take it to next season. And I think you'll see next season them actually be a seeded team, not a play-in, depending on what happens in the offseason. They should be able to get a 6th or a 7th seed next year.
My assessment is the same for them too. I don't think it's any different. I think the main reason for me though, I'll make it simple, is John Morant. When in crunch time when it was needed, he answered the bell every time, and he was doing it by knocking down threes, which is a weakness in the game. It shows that he works on his game. So I think they're in really good hands, and John Morant's the kind of guy who will stay in Memphis for his entire career. So this season might as well be an A for them because they weren't going to win a championship anyways, and to have John Morant answer a lot of questions about his game this year, to answer those questions, and he's heading in the right direction, I'll give you an A for that because you can build around that. Forget everything else. Like that alone makes your season great.
What's your grade for them, Miles?
I'll give them a B, just because they weren't really expected to do much this year, and for them to make the playoffs, shout out to them. You get to see that, like you said, John Morant's a star, and he's backing up his claim, trying to back up his claim that he's a top 5 point guard in the league. Soon though, but not yet. But you're getting to see that they got pieces on this team. It's just a matter of bringing it all together and maybe bringing some more shooting, some more defense, and see what you have. You're giving your young guys a taste of the playoffs now, and that's going to help them in the long run. So,
Miami Heat.
F.
D plus.
F.
D plus.
I think I'll give them a C because towards the latter, because as badly as they started, and that's why they were fighting towards the end. They fought to the end and got into the playoffs, and they put themselves in a pretty good position.
That's cute.
So I'll give them a C. And I also understand. I'm also factoring in the offseason, the shortest offseason in NBA history, and the reason why they weren't that good. So y'all can give them a break. I don't know. I was giving them a D for it.
I'm not.
What do you give a D? You give a D?
No, D.
You give an F?
That's generous.
You give
a D? Wow. I should have given them an S for a sweep. They got swept.
And
you can't. You can't get swept.
You can't get swept.
Look, I don't disagree with you guys that they can't get swept, but I am going to factor in the shortest offseason in NBA history into one of the reasons why they weren't that good this year.
I factor that into their regular season. Cool, you're a playing team. Now it's playoff time. Y'all got this Heat culture, this Jimmy Butler there. He brings so much energy. He changes the culture. He has players playing hard, and you don't get one game. D plus. D plus. I'd give him an F, but we're going to factor in, they had the shortened offseason. They dealt with injuries all year. Maybe the shortened offseason is the reason why Bam didn't really play well this year. Maybe it's the reason why Tyler Hero was up and down this year. Maybe it's the reason why Jimmy Butler did not do what he was supposed to do in the playoffs.
That's exactly why.
We'll see what happens next year, and we'll see a full offseason. Hey,
I bet they're going to be a lot better next year.
Hey,
I hope.
They have the time now. They have the time now to rehab and all that, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if this team is even the same team constructed. Jimmy wants big dollars.
I think he's gonna get it. That's the craziest thing.
A shame.
I don't think it's that crazy, bro. I
Well,
mean,
they're not gonna
coming
win
off a sweep, yeah, it's crazy, but I don't think it looks crazy anyway.
Well, not coming off a sweep. Coming off of his series, he shot less than 30%
I agree, I know.
in the series,
And
he
do
looked off.
you think he was healthy? I've seen Jimmy Butler play well in big games. I don't have questions about whether or not he's gonna show up to the big game. So I know his health.
I don't think that Miami's gonna care about that though. If they can find any way to save money, hey Jimmy, you didn't play well.
So you're gonna pay him $50 million at 36 years old.
I doubt Pat Riley.
I don't think he'll get that deal, but he'll get something in the neighborhood.
That's what he wants. I don't think he's getting that. Mickey Arison, Pat Riley is not going to sign that deal, as you said. 36 years old. You weren't healthy this season. That would be a bad business move on their part to put that much money tied up in Jimmy. When at the end of his contract, he's going to be, 38, 39 with this extension?
I agree. I also just think that you're going to look at the Heat a lot differently when they land someone like Bradley Beal.
Hopefully they do, because Oladipo
and
Oladipo's not the answer there.
Was this the last team we were going to go over?
No, of course we got
other teams.
the Knicks.
We ain't talking about the Knicks yet?
Nah, we were saving the best for last.
But that's the easiest grade on here.
All right, yeah, it is. It's just great. Okay, fine. Before we leave, I'm just gonna say this, and you know what? We can tie next to this too. Based off these two seasons, what's the more appealing destination for a player, New York or Miami? This is not a hard answer.
New York.
It's New York. How could you say anything else though?
It's
Who wouldn't
New
want to
York.
play in front of these fans? It wasn't even full capacity.
I almost
the
did.
littest.
Don't talk to me about the fans, bro. Yes, the fans matter. Yes, cool, cute. They got loud. It was great. It was rocking MSG. Awesome. What's the better basketball situation for a player to go to, Miami or the Knicks?
I mean, we have the most cap space in the NBA in the offseason. So if you want your
get
friends to come on the banana boat to New York, make moves.
It's ridiculous.
I'm picking New York as a better option, man.
Oh my god.
I gave them a B plus this year because this
season a B plus?
Yeah, this season you could probably give them an A minus. This season really I think has set them up to change the trajectory of New York Knicks basketball for years to come. This season alone. I really think, and I'm on the same page with Woj, they're going to get a big star
Of course.
coming next season, and then you can forget it. Because we saw this series. Julius Randle he's Robin. Now put him with, let's say, a Bradley Bill. The Hawks don't beat them.
Of course not, but they don't win a championship either. Yo, if Bradley Beal goes to Miami, there's a chance they win. There's a chance they get out the East, yo.
But it depends on how much you have to give up to get Bradley Beal.
They have more assets. They have more assets to give up than the Knicks do. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, that I agree with.
Nothing times nothing is nothing. That's the way it works. 0 times 0 is 0. So there's not much to give up there. It's just not much to give up if you're a Knicks fan. The cupboard's already kind of bare. What are you gonna give up, RJ Barrett? Yeah.
It's not bare.
Yeah, it's kind of bare, bro.
How?
It's kind of bare. What are your best asset might be Mitchell Robinson to give up in a trade.
We got 6 first-round picks over the next 3-4
Okay,
years.
the first round pick, I didn't take that into consideration. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about this, yo. The Knicks get an A for a great season. They had a great season. I sure as hell didn't expect them to be here. So you get an A. I think that's fair. I think you get an A plus. That's whatever you want. A plus A, whatever you want. I think that's what they get. I'll leave it there. I just think that it'll be really interesting to see when Brad Beal has a choice between going to the Knicks and going to the Heat, where he goes. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's just see where he goes. It'll be close. Let's just see where he goes.
Grade you gonna give New York before we close out?
A plus for the regular season and everything leading up, but it drops down to an A minus for the showing in the playoffs. Even though,
Okay, is that A minus? Are you giving A minus for the playoff performance, or is that all together? Is that cumulative? What are you doing?
He's saying it drops.
Oh,
It drops.
it drops with A minus.
You had a 98 on the test, and I found out, hey, you cheated, so now we dropped it down to 92 or something like. It had to drop because of how they perform.
You shouldn't be dropping them for the playoff performance. You shouldn't factor in the playoff performance. Y'all weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, so the fact that you guys are there, the mere fact that you guys are there makes it an A plus season. It doesn't make any sense. Why did y'all have expectations of what was going to happen in that series? It makes no sense. They weren't that good. They weren't that good to where they were going to win that series, and we all know that.
well, if they weren't missing some players, then it would have been a different story.
No, it would not.
How wouldn't it? So Mitchell Robinson doesn't make a big difference?
You're not winning the series with Mitchell Robinson. Are you winning the series?
Yes.
Oh my God! So Mitchell Robinson is the next great center. I just didn't see it. Oh, this is
Nobody's
insane.
saying that. But Clint Capella's impact isn't as great if Mitchell Robinson's out there, because then you can't cheat on the.
He would still have to cheat on the pick and roll, and Trey would still be throwing lobs. It would not be. He would still. But
who was a lob threat on the Knicks though? So it was tougher for the Knicks to score buckets because guys weren't hitting shots, and then when they go to the cup, nobody's afraid of the lob because Nerlens is banged up. Taj is pushing 40.
He's not dunking.
Oh,
Yeah, he's pushing 40. Mitchell Robinson at his age and his athleticism makes a difference automatically.
I think that he would make a difference in the series. Yes, I think he would have added a lob. They got some easier baskets with him in the game. But at the same time, you guys didn't have someone like Trae Young who they did at the end of the game and get a bucket, and that's all that. In the playoffs, superstars, stars, guys like that are all that matter in the playoffs. It really is. It's the biggest thing. That's what wins series. That's why I'm betting on Lakers. That's why I put all my chips on the Nets. That's why. So if you want, you can say, oh, the series will be more competitive. Mitchell Robinson never won another game. It would have gone 6 instead of 5. Cool. They are not winning this series with Mitchell Robinson. Unless Mitchell Robinson is doing all that BS he does in his highlight mixtapes, in those little summer workout gyms he be doing. You see how he works out? He be doing a little guard drill. Not even drill. He just be dribbling the ball hard as hell.
We've seen it.
Yeah, the BS, right? So unless he's bringing that in games and it's effective and getting a bucket like that, then no, I'm sorry. Unless Mitchell Robinson's someone who believes it, unless Mitchell Robinson's Pat Ewing, then no, you're not winning that series. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good fun ride.
I think we all agree. The next season was successful. Playoffs are still going on, but I can't wait to see what happens in the offseason with New York, Miami, the Lakers, if they keep this right. Like, the offseason, what the Boston Celtics are going to do for head coaching and their roster. This offseason is going to be bananas as usual for the NBA. Like, summertime is going to be, we're going to probably have something to talk about dang near every episode. On our next in-person episode, we will be talking about the NFL and the race Norman and how that came out. We're going to definitely talk about that. That's an in-person episode. We got to talk about that. For all of our listeners, whether you're in America, we've seen we have some listeners in Netherlands. We have some listeners over in Africa. Yo, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Bench Mob Podcast. Follow us there. We're on all streaming platforms. We're on YouTube. Support us. Give us a 5-star rating. All the love. But y'all know the vibe. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.